Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. This is just an overview of all the products and all the things that I'm going to need to make these. And remember, this is what I'm making. These three, the flower, the bigger flower, and then just a bow with a button on it. Okay, so we're going to start out with this flower first, and I'm going to show you how I made it. It's just a group of die cuts, different shapes, and I have just a little white brad. And I'm going to start with the smallest one first. And I'm going to put my brad through. And then I'm just going to go through and line them up and poke them through the hole in the middle. Very simple. I don't have to worry about if they're shaped right or turned right. Just stick them on there. And you notice I have two different shapes. These are square and these are round. And as they go, they get a little bit bigger. And the last one. Open up the brad and close it on the back. And there it is. And then you just kind of pull up your little edges. And there's the little flower. And that's the first one I'm going to add to my folder. And this is just an 8x8 sheet of paper. I scored it in an 1/8, and then I made an 1/8 of an inch score line there so I could fold it. That way it has just a little bit of opening so that it's got room for the dimensions. Let me find my washi tape. This is what I use to hold them on with. It's just a roll of washi tape. Got butterflies on it, but it doesn't matter. Just using it for the stickiness. I just roll it up, stick it on, and then stick my flower on. There's the first one. Okay. My next one I'm going to make is this one here. And so I need to make the rosette. I cut a piece of 8-inch long paper, and I cut it to 3/4 of an inch wide, and then I went through and I scored it on every 1/8 of an inch, which is a lot of scoring. So if you want to hold on, I'm going to roll it up and then I'll show you. Oops, sorry. Okay, guys, I'm back. So I've folded my little piece of paper up here. And just so you know, I told you the wrong size. This is actually 1/4 of an inch. No, let me look. This is the 1/2 inch, sorry. So it's 1/2 inch. So now I'm going to use, I like to use hot glue on my rosettes just because it's a little bit sturdier to hold it. So I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on, roll it around, and put it in place. Just like so. Now then, just take it and stand it up and kind of roll it all towards the center and push down, and it will actually make its own, it'll make its own rosette. So I'm going to put some glue in the middle of my flower. This is just a die cut flower that I have a bunch of. See the individual petals? So I'm going to put some glue right in the middle. And then push this down right there in the middle and squeeze it together so that the glue pokes up through the middle. I don't know how well you can see it, but I'm going to put a little dab of extra glue on there. Like so. And this I'm going to put the button on. Okay. Now that when I get to this part, see these have individual petals? So I'm just going to take my finger and just roll them around my finger and push them up to that center rosette. You could go to a lot of, use your flower making tools and things like that, but this works fine for these. Sorry, I have hot glue everywhere. Alright, got this part. Now, I've got to put my bow on it, or my piece of string on there, and I have a whole bunch of these that I have pulled off when I'm making some of my other things. So it's just a little piece. I'm going to take it and tie it like it's tied in a knot. And I'm going to put a dot of glue right in the middle between the two button holes and put that knot right there in the middle. Then I can decide how long I want my little ends. And there it is. Just that simple. Get me another piece of my washi tape. in the middle. There's that one. Now then, the one that I have left to make is this one. And this is a piece of burlap ribbon. And I just cut it down to a small piece, same size, burlap ribbon, okay? So then I just took and I pulled out some of the strings, and that's the strings I used to tie and put in the middle there. Go kind of slow so you don't take the strings out that you don't want. You just get a hold of them and lightly pull. And I'm going all the way around this one. A little bit harder when you get to where the paint is on there, but go all the way around till you get it to about the size that you want it. And then I have a longer piece here of string, and it works better if you'll kind of bunch it up first. I found that kind of bunch it up, and then you're going to take this string and tie a knot around it. Just like so. Make sure you tie it good. And you end up with something that looks like this. And then I picked out this button to go on this one. And so you just run your string through here. I think it's a very thin gauged twine. It's not really string, but it came in a kit, and it was just some pieces that I had left over, so I decided I needed to use some of my stash. So I got it like this. Tie your bow. Off, and there it is. Just that quick and easy. And I'm going to stick it on here. Okay, now this is my little folder, and it has my 3 embellishments in it. Now, I couldn't decide how I wanted to close it, so I had cut this piece of paper. This was an 8x8 piece of paper, and I left it 8 wide, and I cut 1 inch off the top. Okay? Then I took that 1 inch, and it already had the score lines where I had scored it, and I folded those over and glued a little tip on there, a little edge on there, and made a little holder, and then I used a hole punch and punched a hole. And now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take a piece of this twine and stick it through the hole, like so. Now it's ready. Now then, as I had on the original one, you can see that I cut a tag out, made a bigger rosette, put some more of the burlap on there, and a little rose cover. And it's a tag. I took and made some lines around the back of it, okay? So I'm going to show you how to make this tag. I use this die, just a plain little tag die. And I have some more of the material, or the paper. It's 2-sided paper. It'll fit right there, so I'm going to cut this paper off. My little machine will do about 2 inches, so 2 inches wide. So I cut this off. And my little machine is this little machine's, it's a diamond press. It's really handy to have just to pull out when you want to cut something out quick and easy. It comes with this little folder. You just lay it in there. Stick it in and start cranking. Now I have other die cutting machines. This one was just easier to grab. And I don't have it on a flat, good surface. That's why I'm having to hold it a little bit better. It's not hard at all, even though I'm making it look hard. Okay. And then there's my little tag. And on this little tag, I have the rosette. So I need to make my rosette. And I cut this little piece of paper for my rosette 1 inch wide by 8 inches long. And I'm going to score it about every 1/4 of an inch instead of 1/8 of an inch. And then most of you already know how to make rosettes, but it's very simple. After you do all your scoring, you just fold it up like a fan. I know most of us have made those little accordion fans. Kind of hot and humid here in Oklahoma today, so I may wish I had one of those little accordion fans. But it is May, so I'm sure we're going to have some warm weather move in. I really enjoyed my trip to Prague. Got to see a lot of things that I never thought in my wildest dreams I would ever get to go overseas. So God blessed me with that opportunity, and I got to spend time with my son and daughter-in-law, and it was an amazing blessing. But it did kind of put a hold on my crafting, because while I was there I didn't have anything I could craft with. And we had other fun things to do, to sightsee and different things, so I was unable to do much. So it's good to be back home, back into my craft room, back to doing some of my fun stuff. So, but I was blessed, and I did have a wonderful time while I was with them. And see, I just pushed the center down. All right, now I got to put a pretty good little glob of glue on there. So I want it to kind of squish up through the center. Well, I missed the center, so we'll put some more glue on it. There we go. Like so. Now I have a little glob of glue on there, so I can take my little flat back bead here. That's another one of my things that came in some kit that I had left over. So I'm trying to learn to use my leftover pieces. I get to hoarding things and think, well, if I use it, then I won't have it anymore. So, I don't know how many of you are like that, but I get kind of worried about using my stuff up and then I don't have anything to use. Which I have more stuff than I need, so I shouldn't feel that way. Then I'm just going to grab a marker and just do like faux stitching around the edge. I should have done it before I put the rosette on, but I didn't think about it. I have the shakes really bad today, so I'm kind of having trouble making a little straight line. So, but I guess if I was stitching it, they probably wouldn't be super straight either, so. And that's one thing, I'm not picky on exact details because this is a handmade product and every one of them's different. I have a Etsy shop now, Native Craft Paradigm, and that's one of the things I make sure people know if they order from me is everything is handmade and one of a kind. And that's what makes it so unique, is making things handmade. That when you buy something that's handmade, you can't expect it to be perfect like what you buy in the stores, because what you buy in the stores are mass produced. So, now I'm just pulling some strings out, making it kind of fringy, and now I'm just kind of balling it up in my fingers. Now, to put it under there, you fold this back and put a glob of glue and stick that in that glue. Make sure you push it in there really well. Push down and it should adhere it. Then you can kind of fan it out if you want to. I have one at the bottom, so I need to pull all the strings off a bit. Be careful now, because if you get carried away, you'll pull these strings out too. So, especially with it being on a small, see? But that's okay, because when I bunch it up, you're not going to tell that, you won't be able to tell that I did that. So you just roll it up, bunch it up. Remember on this one, you fold it down. And I'm doing it in the opposite corner on the bottom. Make sure you get all some ends of that in there. And there is your tag. Just like so. And then I took some of these pieces that I've pulled out. You can reuse these. These make good strings for things, especially tags. I'm going to fold this in half, so I have a loop. And I'm going to stick it in from the back. I kind of like that look better, so I go from the back. You can do it the other way if you want it the other way. I just prefer my loops coming in from the back. Poke the ends through, give them a pull. Oops, I missed one. Goodness, I didn't pull them very straight, did I? I think I missed that one. And this is paper, so be careful and don't pull so hard that you tear your paper. Cut that length off. There we go. Now then, this is the tag that goes on here. Let me get a little bit longer one so I can have room to tie it on. I think we're supposed to have some storms move in here in Oklahoma today, so you might keep us in your prayers for the next few days. I think there's might be some tornadoes in our area, so I've lived here all my life, and it's not anything new, so I'm not surprised that we're possibility of tornadoes. I'm just kind of surprised that it's been this late in the year for us to have any. Usually by now we've had quite a few tornadoes.